Welcome to the Free Birth Podcast, a supportive space for people who are learning, exploring, and celebrating their autonomous choices in childbirth. Together, we'll unpack truths, share personal stories, and claim our ability to birth freely and intuitively. Here's your host, Emily Saldea.
Do you know it's your calling to become an authentic midwife? Do you dream of attending women in birth? Have you felt frustrated trying to be a birth worker in the system? Are you looking for a better way to walk with women in total integrity, supporting mother-led physiological birth? Are you dreaming of building a thriving, profitable business as a birth coach? Well, we are thrilled to announce that enrollment for our Radical Birth Keeper School is now open. Classes begin June 1st, so head over to our website and get the details. The time is now, and we need you to join us in this birth revolution. www.radicalbirthkeeperschool.com. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us this week. We have a bit of a special episode to offer you today. I'm joined by my dear friend, Nancy. Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
And you might already know Nancy because she has been on the podcast before with the free birth story of her second child, which you can find on second season?
I think so.
I don't remember what it's called. It's a really good one, though.
Screaming to the Goddess.
Oh, yeah. Screaming to the Goddess. Yes. Yes, I think that is second season. So you can go check that out if you haven't heard that part of her life story. But the other reason you might know her is that she is who created the course that we offer through Free Birth Society, the Sovereign Birth Meditation Series course. That is a beautiful offering that I'm really proud to have on our platform. And that's actually part of why we are gathered today. Also on the precipice of Nancy's third birth that she is about to go through the portal in the next couple of weeks to receive her third child. And so it's a potent time for Nancy in her own life right now. And then also, obviously, unless you've been living under a rock, it's a potent time for everybody to be alive, navigating, the chaos of a global hysteria. And so, we got together and we thought that it would be what's the right word? A relaxing and gentle offering this week to get into a little bit of self-care conversation of navigating these times, mothering in these times, and then also including one of Nancy's most popular meditations. So we're going to, in a little while, we're going to invite you to sit down and relax and enjoy a really special recording that Nancy created. And then also a beautiful song that came through her that's going to be in her upcoming course, Spirit Babies and Conscious Conception course that she's been working really hard on, that I'm very, very excited to get out there. So we'll talk more about that. I also wanted to say that for anyone who's unfamiliar with Nancy, I wanted to speak to the role that she holds in our community and why I chose to work with her in the ways that, through the courses that she offers, because Nancy is a very special woman. She is a shamanic facilitator. She works with plant medicine. She serves women, and she brings a lot of really special magic to this planet. And so, I thought it would be an important and kind of obvious choice to have your wisdom and your magic on the show today.
Thank you so much.
So how have you been navigating all of this?
It's kind of interesting, I'm 36 weeks pregnant now, and, let's just be honest, you can be a little crazy in that time. I think everybody gets the, what's the word? It's okay to be a little crazy. You're on that cusp. You feel the portal opening. You want everything in its right place. And, you go into those crazy sort of nesting periods, and then you go through the surrender later. And, I've been bouncing back and forth between trying to have control over certain things and then just totally letting go. And interestingly enough, with the coronavirus, I feel like it really has helped me to hone in a very focused way on the vibration that I want to carry on this planet in my own body for the sake of my baby, the generations to come, and for all of us. And so, in a way, it's been I've let go of more, and I've been holding on to what truly, truly
Mm.
matters, which is for me a certain frequency and a certain vibration, and it's one of trust and faith.
Mhm.
Those are, I would say, like I call them my pillars, and so I've been just leaning into those, and really, like you said, I hold a little bit more of a shamanic perspective, and so I've been looking at it through that lens of
Mhm.
like, what does this actually mean for us as a whole? And I feel that it's an opportunity for a really great awakening.
Yeah.
And I know that I am, and probably everyone listening to this call is, what I would say a midwife of that shift. And what do we do as good midwives?
Mhm.
We just hold that space, we just hold that space, and we hold that light, and we hold that trust and faith. So
Yeah, and there's such a massive shift between fear and worry versus awareness, right? Like that's what
mhm,
I've been really
mhm,
honing in on this week. I feel very aware. I feel really
mhm, mhm.
open. I feel really, my awareness is really heightened right now. I feel like my eyes are super open and I'm really paying
Yeah.
attention. And when I say paying attention, I actually don't mean to the news at all,
Right.
but rather to my own
Mhm,
energetic field, to what I'm allowing in and out. I feel a real heightened awareness, and I have felt uh, the pull to like dip that into fear, and I've let myself go there to kind of just see what it feels like, because I spend so little time in fear and
mm,
in worry that it's almost quite curious to kind of like dabble and be like, "Ooh, that does not feel good. That feels really bad." That makes me like want to hide, and want to like curl up and, think about the end of days, and just it's not helpful. So just, kind of honing in on that shift, and it's a conscious shift, absolutely, that actually does take some tools and discipline to choose awareness and action and protection, from a really different energetic field, like you pointed to. Like, what frequency are we choosing to embody? Because if we don't choose it, the fear and hysteria that is quite palpable, out in the world
mhm.
right now becomes us. And so if we don't choose
Totally.
something different, we're going to get, kind of swept away in it, which is, for me, one of the massive reasons why I'm largely off social media.
Mhm,
I was
mhm.
thinking about that this morning. My friend was telling me how crazy Facebook is right now. And I was just like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
on there. I'm not on Twitter. I only follow our members on Instagram. So that's like such a small but kind of a big thing to not dip our feet into the well of fear and hysteria through social media.
Exactly, and it's being really specific about what we choose to let in. 'Cause I'm the same, like, I'm on our membership
Exactly.
mostly
That is my
more than
social media,
anything. Yeah, 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 for
which in our
sure.
membership is having really real conversations about this, but it's definitely not like, "Rah!"
Right,
fear,
right.
fear, fear, chaos. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, before we talk about the course, just I want to stay with this theme a little bit longer and just ask you any tips or tricks that you're invoking, practical or spiritual, or is something in, anything to do with your family. Obviously, you have two children in the home. You have a partner that lives in your home. So, I'd love to just kind of do a quick dive into some of the stuff that you're doing, and maybe I'll share some. by the time this episode comes out, we will have already shared the newsletter this week about our self-protecting kind of rituals that I and some, Yolanda does some of as well. So I'd love to hear, what some of yours are.
Yeah, for me, it's again, like all about going back to that, what kind of vibration do I really want to hold, and how do I get there? And I think we all have our different ways. And for me, it's always through song. That's my sort of number one portal, I would say. Because I'm a sound healer and musician. So, but I think song resonates actually with a lot of women on a really deep, ancient cellular level. And so I made a commitment to sing 3 songs every night at my altar minimum. And I personally like to do my work at night because I'm an evening person. Mornings just kind of a little bit like dragging my feet.
Me too.
Yeah. Thankfully, my partner's the morning person.
Me too. It saves our household.
It totally saves me. So we kind of balance each other out like that. But I do a lot of my more spiritual work at night, and it's just when I feel like I have the space. Everybody's asleep, and so altar. I'm big on altars. I know you wrote about that in your last newsletter, and I like what you said too. Keep it really simple. Doesn't have to be a big thing. I talk about that in the Sovereign Birth course, like making your birth altar, and it could be as simple as a little blanket with a candle. That's it. Whatever. Mine has a lot of stuff going on in it, but I'm constantly also moving it around, like based on what I'm needing, and different little sculptures and statues and crystals and notes to myself. And so obviously, like, I'm working with a lot right now because I am about to give birth. So I do have some specific birth affirmations up there too. But so I sing my 3 songs, and I work with my guides. That's another really huge tool that I'd love to encourage you all to explore. And I talk about it in both courses, but I go into it in depth in the Spirit Babies course. It's really about working with the elements as our guides, and also discovering who our other guides are, and our spirit babies are also our guides, right? And so I've been developing a relationship with my guides for more than 10 years. And so I know who a lot of them are. And so I call them by name, and I ask them specifically for what I need.
You're like, hey, Victoria.
But here's the interesting thing about guides. They, my teacher who sort of introduced me to shamanism, he said something funny, like, your guides are basically hanging out in the cosmic cafe until you call on them.
Okay.
Like, they're there, they're ready, but it's a relationship, just like any other relationship down here on the earth plane. And so, yes, you have some forces that are working that you maybe don't know about, but it's much more potent when you actually make a call to them. And so I would really encourage all of you to give it a try. And
so can you tell me what that could look like? I know that you go into it in more depth, but like for somebody who doesn't feel like the connection point yet, what's a connection point to offer?
For me, I always start with the most obvious guide, which we all have, which is Gaia, Earth, because it's like, we're here. So, and she is a living being and we are in co-creation with her. And I think we have spiritual contracts with her as well. And so it's like, okay, well, that's the most obvious thing, nature as our guide. So I think for me, the very first and basic step is to ground. And I like to do this meditation where you imagine roots coming out of your pelvic floor, your yoni, whatever feels good for you. You can do it out your feet as well if you're sitting up, and feel those roots really penetrating all the way down to the core of the earth, and then drawing that earth energy up. But begin to have a conversation, like really see her as a sentient being. And I think this is such an amazing time on earth to do this. We were just talking before we hit record about like how this sort of hysteria has put us into contact with how dependent we are on systems, and how potentially out of contact with the actual earth we are, And so can we get into conversation with her as an actual being who can be our guide? And she has incredible, just wow, amazing
Mm.
frequencies to offer us when we pull those up into our body. And we talked a little bit before we hit record about nervous systems too, and how, right now everybody's nervous system can be really on edge. For me, there's nothing more comforting than the
Mhm.
earth's energy, and really consciously bring that up into the body. And then as you exhale, you bring it all the way down, and it feels like a blanket over your nervous system, or like this balm, that soothes. And so you start with the earth, maybe, as your connection point, and then you can bring your awareness above your crown and just become curious. That I think is the number one thing. Stay open and curious, and make a call out there, like, I'm here, I'm open, and I'm ready to receive the benevolent guidance of any forces that are around me. And just stay open in a meditative state. And you can increase the time over the
Mhm.
days, but start with 5 minutes, see what happens. And you've talked about this, Emily. We're all psychic, right? And we get these messages in different ways. All of us, some of us hear things, some of us see things, some of us just feel things. It's knowing. So suddenly you get a hint of something. It's the color green or whatever, color violet. I don't know. And you're
Mhm.
like, huh, interesting. So stay in that openness and curiosity. And over time,
Mhm.
it's amazing what gets revealed. I mean, I feel like for me, my guides are some of my best friends. Like, you were joking, like,
Mhm.
hey, Victoria, or whatever you said. And it really is like that for me. But again, it
That's
is that
awesome.
relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I know quite a few women in my life that I have so much admiration for, that have really opened up to their guides. And one of my dear friends, she just goes and sings to
Mm,
waterfalls. She sings to
mm,
water all the time. Water's her element. Water is her best
mm,
friend, really. And water is one of her biggest guides in her life. And so I'll never forget, on New Year's Day, we texted and I was like, "What are you up to today?" And she was like, "I'm going to go on a hike and sit by a waterfall and sing to her for a couple hours." I was like, "Oh my God, that is so amazing." And I felt until recently a real resistance to, like, that's really cool, but it
mm,
couldn't be me. I felt this kind of othering about, all my, so many friends are plant witches that have all these relationships with the plants or with animals. And I've always just been like, I guess I'm not that kind of witch. I guess I don't have it, because I never had a connection point until rather recently. I sat in a plant medicine ceremony, and for the first time, after working with these plants for a long time, for the first time, rose and lavender introduced themselves
mm,
to me, and they actually came and loved on me and talked to me and danced
mm,
on me and really wrapped me up. Really let me start to get to know them. And they're very different, but they were together for me at that point. And it was a connection point where I was like, "Oh my gosh, I had this beautiful awakening," because what they said to me was, "We're always here. We're always ready to play. We're always ready to ally with you. We're always here. You just have never learned how to listen."
right.
And I was just
Oh.
crying. I was like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't know." And they were just like, "Yeah, you could just walk in the forest. Once you figure out how
Yeah.
to listen, everything is here for you. And we are all your guides and your allies and your playmates." And then I wanted to share that after that, one of my other dear friends, who knew I had just had a pretty massive spiritual experience, gave me water that she had collected from a spring in Mount
Mm,
Shasta in a
mhm,
tincture. I have it
mm,
right here. I'll show it to you. And she works with water
mhm,
prayers. And so, just very simply, for anyone who that's new to, as it was for me, she collects water all over the world when she travels, or puts snow into a container at her house. She just has these little water contained things around her house. And so this specific one that's in my hand right now is a tincture bottle of spring water from Mount Shasta, like I said. And so she just said that what she does is, throughout the day, she will put a drop of the water on her temple, or on her throat, or on her heart, or her crown, or all of it. And she'll just say, "I'm calling in the frequency of water. I'm open to you. I want to
mhm,
connect to you. I'm here with you. I welcome you into my system." and that in this day of the digital age where our energetic frequencies are calibrating off of our
Yeah,
phones and our computers and our TVs, to introduce elements, like you said already in the beginning, to see elements as your guides, and that it really what I'm learning that I want to offer in this space is I am learning that it is way more simple than I
yes,
realized. And I was using this limited belief that I didn't know how to do it as a reason not to do it. And now what I'm realizing is it's literally as simple as have a candle burning in your line of
exactly.
view, like have a crystal in front of your computer, like I have this giant
Yeah,
amethyst now that I stare at, as I work on a computer all day, have the water there to put on your temple. Just take that moment to align with these frequencies, and that it actually can be that
exactly.
simple.
That's such a good point. And I really like what you said about listening, because I think that that's one of the really big keys. And I also talk about that quite a lot in the Spirit Babies course, is that aspect of just listening. And so much can be revealed, and just really recognizing that we are all of this stuff, of course, just like, you talk about every week. Birthing is in your bones as a woman. It just is. Like, it just happens. It just is. It's there, right? There's not actually that much you have to do for it to
Right.
take place. And I think all of these connections are the same. It's in our bones. It's in our lineage, not that far back, really, where we were gathering in circles constantly, where we were honoring the elements every day. And so just knowing that it's really there for you, and all you have to do is take a moment to listen and connect.
Mm.
And things show up in your
Mm.
paths. Things show up for you when you do
Mm-hmm.
that. Suddenly you meet the woman who sings to the waterfalls, and she teaches you a song.
Yeah.
And you're like, huh, interesting. You find the element that
Yeah.
you resonate with more. I think we all do have one that we probably gravitate toward more than others. And you work with that, and things start to show up, people start to show up, uh, and you receive what you need.
Yeah. And that's where I'm focused right now, is the stuff that feels more
Mm,
tangible, like earth, the elements, like just, the rocks, the crystals, like the stuff that feels really, they're right here. There are these light beams in my home that I can talk with and I can open to and I can listen to, and I can have, flowers, I can have it in my consciousness, whether I'm being totally aware of it or not. Those feel like a really easy connection point for me personally to start working with guides and allies. It's felt just too kind of ominous or like
mhm.
vague to just put it out to the emptiness of the nothingness of, I mean, I know that's everything too, but like, like the spirit world, to just be like, hey,
Right.
any guides out there want to come hang out? That's felt a little confusing or
Uh-huh.
inauthentic to me. But I think what I've realized is it's my own immaturity or naivete, of just I didn't know how to do it. And so I'm starting with stuff that feels really
Yeah.
easy to do, like, having altars, having flowers, having fire, having water, these things that I have a deep, deep reverence
Mhm.
for. Um, and seeing, like, trying to feel that out as a connection point to then hopefully get even more, opened up to what
Yeah.
else is
Yeah.
out there.
Totally. It's beautiful. I do want to share one more thing that I've been doing lately. It's a mantra that I just sort of came to me, and it could be helpful for anybody listening who's also on the cusp of giving birth at this time, which is just sort of like diving into the unknown times a million. And it just came to me, and it says, all the right things at all the right times in all the right ways for myself and the highest good of all involved. May it be so.
Hmm.
So it's like a little prayer mantra, and I say it every single night, and then I blow out my candle. And
Hmm.
personally, I'm in the midst of like about to move to my new home that I've been building for a while now. And it's like, am I going to be there when I give birth? Am I not? Am I going to? And so that mantra has just been like, it's okay. All the right things at all the right times. Whatever that means, I'm giving that over to, you know, the great mystery that I cannot control anyway. And I like to always include that for the highest good of all involved. So it's not just about me, but it's really that it ripples out to, of course, my baby, my family, my loved ones, but also to the whole collective, you know? So.
Yeah. Beautiful. So tell us a little bit about this course, Sovereign Birth Meditation Series, and tell us about, like what inspired it, and what's it
Yeah.
all about?
Well, it's a 9 module course, and then it also has some bonuses. And each module consists of a meditation, a guided meditation, hypnosis sort of recording, um, and a set of journal prompts to take you deeper with maybe whatever came up from that recording. And then it ends with a ritual. So I'm really, really big on rituals. I think that what they do is they basically create this sort of time outside of time and space for yourself. And I think it's the way in which we, as looking backwards to our ancestors, I think it's the way in which we always shifted our consciousness to set up this space. And in that container, you say, I'm ready to shift something. And so the ritual is
Mm.
for that shifting. And also in that shifting, there's an integration of anything that maybe took place. And yeah, I guess I've just observed over the years of studying birth, working as a doula, and just studying a lot of things that have to do with being a woman. It's like we were saying earlier, we have all of the information we need in our bones and our cells and our ancient memory, but it's often our mind that gets in the way of that and starts over analyzing or going into fear or worrying about things that maybe we don't need to worry about. And then, of course, there's this whole thing, navigating the system and all that stuff. And so these recordings are really meant to um, break up all of that mental stuff so that you can get to the core really of who you are as a pregnant
Mm-hmm.
woman, as a birthing woman, as a mother to be. And I think they're specifically really, really good for releasing fears. But I have a bunch of different ones with different themes. There's also one about dropping into pleasure, dropping into surrender. There's positive birth affirmations.
Unprogramming the negative imagery. That one's really
Exactly.
cool.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I sort of think it's for anybody who's going to give
Mm-hmm.
birth.
Totally.
But especially for those wanting, a very natural, undisturbed birth, and they know that they need to do some work to get there
Mm.
to release any mental programming that we all have received along
Of
the way,
course.
you
And
know?
so many women who have bought it and used it, then write to us and tell us, about how they used it during their birth and how they used it postpartum, and how it just became like a touchstone for
Yeah.
them throughout their experience. And yeah, it's so beautiful.
And I can say I've used it personally as well. I used it for my second because I hadn't created it yet for my first. That was a long time ago. And it really does work. And I've been using it this pregnancy too. And it's always been so helpful. And I do take my recordings pretty seriously, record them professionally and with some nice background tracks. And so
Mhm.
I do feel really proud of them. And
Mhm. Oh yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I've I've spent some time on YouTube looking up other, guided meditations for pregnancy just because I'm like, maybe I should not listen to my own voice all the time. But I have to say, like, I always go back to mine because I really like the balance of the volume of the background track versus the voice and the way it drops me in. So yeah, I
Well, and
think
you're already a practiced and skilled sound healer. So I don't think a lot of the people recording, pregnancy hypnosis are.
right, right,
So
right,
we
right.
do have that in your corner, which is
Right.
so great. Yeah. And so yeah, in a little bit we're gonna chat a little bit more and talk a little bit about Spirit Babies and her upcoming course on that. And then we're gonna shift into one of the meditations from this Sovereign Birth meditation series that she's offering to share with us today. And then a beautiful song is going to be followed that came through Nancy during the making of her Spirit Babies course. So yeah, let's talk about that. Spirit babies. It's one of my most favorite topics, that and conscious conception, which obviously those tend to go together. I just finally recorded my contribution for your course, which got me really excited about it because I got to talk about all of this for 30 minutes to be a part of your course. So yeah, tell us a little bit about how it's all shaping up and what it's going to be and who would want to take it.
Yeah, it's an interesting course. I talk about this a little bit in the welcome video. Like when I create something, I have a vague idea usually when I start off what it's
Totally.
going to be. but ultimately I do open up my channel and I allow it to come through and really manifest into what it wants to be. And so I see my creations as their own being. They're a little being that wants to come through in a certain way. And so I was a little bit maybe surprised, I don't know the word. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, this is so interesting how this all ended up coming out. And I don't know why I'm surprised because it did end up being a very shamanic sort of journey. And it actually journeys through the elements. I guess that's the piece that I had no idea it was going to end up like that. But it goes through 5 main modules. And so we start with earth and we journey through fire and then air, water, and finally with ether. And each of these elements represent a different theme. And so earth is about grounding and nourishing. Fire is about the purification process that I think inevitably happens when you are ready to call in a child. For a lot of women, it happens over the months that they're trying to conceive. And I think that piece can be really confusing for women. Like, wait, why the hell suddenly is all this stuff coming up? Why am I suddenly, reflecting upon my wounds with my father, mother, or whatever? And so that element and that whole module is really helpful in that purification process. And then we go to air, which is all about connecting. And so learning to open up ourselves to connect with our spirit babies. And some women who are going to be taking the course maybe already have that connection. So it'll just go deeper. But some who take it might be like, what the hell is really a spirit baby? But I know that I want to get pregnant. So maybe I have one. What is that? And how do I connect with them? And so that module is all about that. And then the water is really about surrendering and flowing with the conception process, which is I think it can be quite hard. I definitely was triggered, with my son. And I think we talked about this on when I did my podcast about his birth. You were like, yeah, it's not like so many people say conscious conception. Okay, I'm ready. I'm going to consciously conceive. And then they think they're going to get pregnant like that day. And it doesn't always work like that. In fact, it usually doesn't.
Yeah.
It usually doesn't. And so that water module is all about surrendering into all of that mystery. Like maybe this is out of my control. And then the ether is a lot about stillness and being and listening. And I think that almost goes like a step further than surrendering. It's just suddenly really letting go and becoming, moving into that mind of equanimity, And so they have a video in each module. They have, again, the guided meditation, also some journal prompts and rituals. And then a little really cool piece is a story time with a different woman who has gone through the process of either consciously conceiving or calling in her spirit baby, or perhaps both, and what that was like for her. And I know you share your story in there. There's 5 other women who share their stories, and then I also share mine. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about the course, because I think, clearly we've seen through this podcast that we learn through listening to each other's stories.
And just hearing all the different ways it can look and getting ideas and just sharing wisdom. It's just so fun. Yeah.
Totally. Just feeling like you're not alone on that journey. And then, there's also some bonuses. And one of the bonuses we're including today, which is a mantra that I think is very great for really all times in life, but like in that conception process when you're needing to let go, and also what we're currently going through as a collective of not really knowing what the future holds, but staying in that vibration of trust. And yeah, there's also a section within each module that's called the allies. So for each element, it's like earth allies, water allies, etc. And this is where I include some suggestions for flower essences and nutritional tips and infusions that you can work with and those kind of things.
We're going to have Nancy back on when she goes through her birth process and feels ready to re-enter the world again. We're going to have her on to share her story and to talk a little bit more about her personal journey of spirit babies and conscious conception, and that will be, somewhat paired with the launch of her course. Fun. I can't wait to see it. It's looking quite beautiful from what I have seen. And so that course, we are aiming to have that out in May. And so stay tuned and we'll definitely announce it. And we will have Nancy on the podcast again once her baby is here and the course is out. And we'll talk more about Nancy's personal story with spirit babies and conscious conception. And of course, hear what I'm sure will be a juicy birth story. So anything else to add or say before we move into your offering today?
I guess I can share a little bit about this offering that we're going to share right now. It's the very first meditation of the Sovereign Birth series, but I chose it today because it's actually the one meditation in the course that isn't incredibly specific to just being pregnant. So it's a journey down into your womb to meet your inner wise woman or your inner goddess or whatever word you would like to put onto that. And so I invite, anyone listening to this that is a woman to dive into this. And also the mantra I think could be relevant to everyone right now. Mm-hmm. So that's why we chose it.
It's going to be good. So if you can, if you're not driving, because this is a hypnosis track. So maybe Nancy, if you want to prep it of how people should interact with this. And if you are driving, maybe just press pause and tune back in when you're in a position where you can relax tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Just make sure that you're undisturbed. It's about 17 minutes long, I think. So just undisturbed and not needing to be acting from your mind.
So we're going to go ahead and play this. I invite you to just take it in and come back to it as many times as you need throughout the week. Know that this is here now, and you can obviously download this. And if you want more from Nancy, please go check out the Sovereign Birth meditation series. It's really a beautiful offering. Women are really loving it. And like I said, keep an eye out for her Spirit Babies course that should be out in May. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed our little talk and that you enjoy this offering and that it inspires you to stay aware and out of fear and worry, and really call on the good things in your life to help you navigate these times.
Find a comfortable place to either sit up in a relaxed position or lie down. Make sure all distractions are removed so that you can confidently slip into a very deep, relaxed state. Begin by taking a few conscious breaths. Breathing in and out deeply as your belly rises and falls. As I count down from 10 to 1, you will slip deeper and deeper into a very relaxed state. 10. You are relaxing your face in the space between your eyebrows. 9. You are now allowing your eyes to relax. They are sinking deeper into their sockets. 8. You are relaxing your jaw, allowing it to open slightly. 7. You are relaxing your neck and throat. 6. You are relaxing your shoulders, your chest, and your arms. With every breath out, more and more tension is leaving your body. 5. You are relaxing your upper back, and now your lower back. 4. You are relaxing your belly, your hips, and your entire pelvic area. 3. You are relaxing your upper legs and your knees. 2. You are relaxing your calves and your ankles. And 1. You are allowing your feet and your toes to completely relax. Every part of your body is more relaxed now than when we began. All the way from your head down to your toes. You will be going on a special journey during this guided meditation. You will be asked to access your inner wise woman. Try to allow yourself to enter into this meditation with an open mind. See if you can become curious about what you will learn with no judgments, just curiosity. Now that you are completely calm, breathing naturally and comfortably, I will begin to take you on a journey. Starting with this present moment, begin to breathe into your womb. Allow a feeling of gratitude to come to you as you ponder the miracle of life. Place your hands over your womb softly and begin to breathe into your hands. Imagine that you are sending the breath straight to the spot below your hands, and the breath is filling your womb. And with each breath, you are sending loving energy, a wave of gratitude, a wave of pure life energy with each breath. This breath is nourishing to your entire being. We are going to take a journey now to meet the wise woman deep within you. As we journey, you are going to continue to keep your hands placed on your womb and continue to send nourishing breaths to this area of your body. Now begin to imagine your womb as a temple of wisdom, knowledge, love, and beauty. In order to enter this temple, you must first pass through a cave. This cave is very, very dark, but it is warm and inviting. See if you can allow yourself to step into this darkness. This cave is where all potential dwells, but where nothing is manifested yet. This cave is the symbol of your divine feminine creative power. See what feelings arise as you step into this space. The darkness envelops you in a sweet embrace, like a deep rest after a long journey. You can sink into this darkness and allow it to hold you. Just allow yourself to do that for a moment. You are walking through this dark cave now, and you begin to see some light. It's coming from a beautiful doorway that leads you to your temple. What does this doorway look like? This is a doorway to your sacred temple. Is there anything written on the door? Are there symbols? Drawings? Is the door a certain color? Observe this doorway and see what feelings come up as you do. Good. Now pass through this doorway. And as you do, feel how the energy shifts. Feel the sacredness of this space. This is the temple where your inner goddess, your wise woman, resides. What is this temple like? Are there special symbols in this temple? Is it earthy and simple, or elaborate and decorative? Just allow it to be however it is, with no judgments. See how you feel as you are in this temple. Can you feel the knowledge that is kept here? Can you feel the wisdom, love, and beauty here? Can you feel the ancient knowing that is in this temple? Do you feel like you've been here before? Maybe you haven't been to this temple in a very long time. Take a moment to appreciate it and see what it wants to show you. Take a walk around. See if there's anything you want to move around, clean up, or just have a look at. Just explore and allow your imagination to guide you. And just observe. Good. Now I would like you to find the space at the front of the temple. There is a chair there, and in this chair sits a woman. She is a goddess. She is very wise. She is very powerful. And this is her temple. See if you can just look at her for a moment. What do you see? What do you feel? What kind of qualities does she possess? What kind of energy does she radiate out to you? As you meet this inner goddess of yours, begin to make a connection with her. Introduce yourself and share with her whatever you would like. Share with her your worries or fears, and your dreams and desires. Just allow yourself to connect with this aspect of you, this confident, wise, and powerful woman that you see in your temple. Allow your imagination to take you through the conversation with no judgments. Just see what happens. And feel free to ask your inner goddess any questions. Good. Now you will soon leave this temple, but before you go, this wise woman has a gift for you. See if you can stretch out your hand and take this gift from her. This gift has a special message just for you. See if you can observe it and receive the message. Before you leave, thank your inner goddess. Take a moment to appreciate the beauty you see, the wisdom, the deep trust that is present in the temple. And take your time to say goodbye for now to the wise woman within. As you are leaving the temple, have one last look around. See if there's anything you want to remember as you leave. Any image that you'd like to bring with you. Begin to exit now, passing back through the warm and dark cave. Feel the richness of the darkness and see if you feel different now after having visited the temple. Are you more comfortable with the darkness? Are you more aware of your strength, of your wisdom? Just notice. Begin to slowly come back from this journey, out of the cave and into this present moment. Bring your awareness back to your womb and breathe into it once again. Feel the surface below you and begin to become aware of the environment around you. Breathing deeply, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, slowly waking up the body from this relaxed state. And as I count from 3 to 1, you will slowly bring yourself back into a clear, calm, and awake state. Knowing that each time you listen to this recording, you will relax even more deeply. 3, feeling calm, confident, and relaxed. 2, feeling calm, confident, and clear, and 1 feeling calm, confident, and awake. I trust the process of life. All my needs are taken care of. When I remember that I'm a part of the divine holy plan, then I surrender my heart to the goddess's guiding hand, and I feel safe, I feel safe, I feel safe once again. I trust the process of life. All my needs are taken care of. When I remember that I'm a part of the divine holy plan, then I surrender my heart to the goddess's guiding hand, and I feel safe, I feel safe, I feel safe once again. I trust the process of life. All my needs are taken care of. When I remember that I'm a part of the divine holy plan, then I surrender my heart to the goddess's guiding hand, and I feel safe, I feel safe, I feel safe once again. I trust the process of life. All my needs are taken care of. When I remember that I'm a part of the divine holy plan, then I surrender my heart to the goddess's guiding hand, and I feel safe, I feel safe, I feel safe once again.